Hi there, I'm Lance, and this is Love to Hate, where we try to help gamers find great games to play with non-gamers. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to play Lady's Choice, a 2 to 6 player card game all about trying to find love. And just as in real life, things aren't always as they appear. It's 1890s London, and you're a young lady looking to marry the dandiest of gentlemen, while the other players are the eligible bachelors, boasting about their status and accomplishments, while at the same time hiding their secret flaws. Will you find love or only heartbreak? Join me at the table and together we're going to learn Lady's Choice. Note that what I'm about to teach you are the rules for a 3 to 6 player game. There are special rules for a 2-player game that will be at the end of this video, and you can fast forward to that portion by clicking the timestamp down below in the description of this video. Also, there are special changes for 6-player games, and I'll make sure to point those out as we go along. First, separate the love cards from all the other cards. Deal players a number of them based on the number of players in the game. 2 for a 3-player game, 3 for a 4-player game, and 4 for a 5 or 6-player game. The rest of the love cards can be placed back in the box. Make sure not to include the true love cards, as you will want those to set aside in a separate stack within reach of all players. Players will keep their love cards in a stack in front of them with the love to give side face up. These cards represent the love each player has to give. Throughout the game, players will receive love cards from other players, and these should be splayed out separately from the love to give stack, making it easy to be counted at a glance. Next, choose a player to be the catch for the first round, and give that player the catch player card. In a 6-player game, turn the catch player card over to reveal the first catch, and give the other player to the right of the first catch the second catch player card. All other players play as gentlemen this round and are given a gentleman player card. Lastly, place the dandy rank cards off to the side. In a 3-player game, you only need the first dandiness and the least dandiest card. In a 4-player game, also include the second dandiest card, and in a 5 or 6-player game, play with all the rank cards. And that's it for setup. Next, we'll go over how a round works. Lady's Choice is played over a number of rounds equal to the number of players in the game, as each player will play as the catch once per game. However, in a 6-player game, you will have 3 rounds, as there will be 2 new catches each round. Each round is made up of the following 4 phases: the setup phase, the romance phase, the ranking phase, and scoring phase. Let's go over each of these phases, starting with the setup phase. Shuffle the 70 gentleman attribute cards and deal 4 to each gentleman. The number in the top left corner determines how much more or less dandy the card makes him. Having a well-groomed mustache along with being an opera singer makes for having 10 dandy points. But being, say, Danny Ocean, a thieving gambler, will take away 20 dandy points, for a combined score of -10 dandy points. At certain specific points in the game, gentleman players may reveal their cards to the other players. Outside of those times, however, those gentleman players are never allowed to show anyone their cards, even if they want to. They are free to talk about and lie about which cards they have, though. Next, deal 17 cards face down into a pile and place the biological clock card on top, perpendicular to the stack, and then place the remainder of the gentleman attribute cards on top of that. The biological clock card should stick out both sides of the stack so that it is visible to all players. In the romance phase, the catch aims to marry the dandiest gentleman, while the gentleman players look to portray themselves as better than they actually are by concealing their flaws. Don't act like you've never tried to suck in your portly belly before. Play starts with the gentleman player to the left of the catch, or catches in a 6-player game, and proceeds clockwise around the table until all catches have chosen the marry action. On a gentleman player's turn, they will select one of the following 2 actions: boast or change. If boasting, the player will choose a card in their hand and show it to everyone, returning the card back to their hand afterwards. They will then draw a card from the Gentleman Attributes deck and add it to their hand. If instead they pick Change, they will choose a card to discard from their hand face down and then draw 2 new cards to place into their hand. When taking the Change action, the Gentleman player must take every precaution to make sure that he does not give away which card he is discarding, even if he wants to. That might mean he might shuffle his hand before getting rid of a card, or shuffling it below the table. He's free to lie about which card he is getting rid of. He just cannot make it obvious as to which card it was. Once all Gentleman players have taken their actions, play proceeds to the catch, or catches in a 6-player game. The catch has a choice to make. She must pick one gentleman to either court or marry. If the catch chooses to court a gentleman, the chosen gentleman must shuffle their hand face down, such that they're not even sure which card is which. The catch chooses and secretly looks at a number of cards equal to the number of gentleman players at the table, returning the card or cards to the gentleman's hand. Note, if the catch reveals the Complete Openness attribute card, then they get to see the rest of the gentleman's hand. Instead of courting, the catch can choose to marry a gentleman player, but she can only do this once. And in so doing, those 2 players are joined together forever, till death do them part. Or at least till the end of the round. Marriages just don't last very long these days. When marrying, the catch gives one gentleman player all of her love to give cards that she received at the beginning of the game. This does not count any love that she has received from a previous round, as that is kept separate in a splayed line in front of the player. In a 6-player game, once one of the catches has chosen the marry action, the remaining catch must immediately choose a different gentleman to marry, unless the remaining catch is the second catch, in which case he or she gets to take an extra court action before having to choose the marry action. Now, if the catch chooses the court action, play will proceed forward with the gentleman players, as they take their actions of boasting or changing again. Then it will return back to the catch player, who must choose whether to court or marry. If she chooses court, this will continue until she finally chooses to marry someone. Note, once the biological clock card is revealed, place it aside and continue play as normal. It does not count as a card when drawing. Once the biological clock card has been revealed, the catch, or in a 6-player game, the second catch, is no longer able to take the court action. In a 6-player game, the first catch is not affected by this card, as he or she can continue to take the court action. However, once the second catch has to choose someone to marry, then the first catch immediately chooses a different gentleman to marry. Once all catches have chosen someone to marry, play proceeds forward with the ranking phase. All gentlemen reveal their cards. If a gentleman reveals any cards with mysterious in the title, such as one of these cards, they will draw the corresponding number of cards from the Gentleman Attributes deck. If in doing so they draw another mysterious card, they will draw additional cards for that mysterious card, and so on again if more mysterious cards are drawn. Certain attribute cards cancel out one or more of the other cards. If a gentleman has those particular cards, they will set them aside. Insecure about your bald patch? Not to worry, just cover it up with your silk top hat. There may be cards marked with gold coins, such as the locomotive. These are wealth cards. Of the ones that were not put aside, each gentleman will find the highest valued one and put the rest aside. Gentleman players will add up all of their dandy cards, both positive and negative, making sure not to count the ones that were set aside. The gentleman player with the most dandy points will receive the first ranked dandiest card. The second most will receive the second rank, and so on and so forth until all gentleman players have been given a ranked card. If there's a tie between 2 gentleman players, those gentleman players will reveal their highest wealth card to break the tie. If there's not any wealth cards amongst those tied players, then they'll reveal their highest dandy card. And if there's still a tie, then the tie will be broken based on player turn order, starting from the catch player. Once all gentlemen have been given a ranked card, play proceeds forward with the scoring phase. It's wedding day. It's Bruno Mars's Marry Me and the Cha-Cha Slide. Oh wait, it's 1890s, so it's probably harps, organs, bells, whatever. It's beautiful. The couple have tied the knot. Or is it beautiful? First, the married gentleman player makes sure to give back the catch one love card for every gentleman player at the table who was less dandy than him. For example, if the catch chose the second dandiest gentleman out of 4, that gentleman would have to give back 2 love cards to the catch, as there were 2 other gentlemen less dandy. If instead the catch were to marry the least dandy gentleman, the gentleman would not have to give back any love cards, as there were no gentlemen less dandy. If the catch chose the dandiest gentleman, the player who received the first rank dandy card, then he or she also receives 1 true love card from the supply. If instead he or she chose the least dandiest gentleman, then the least dandiest gentleman is the one who's going to receive the true love card from the supply. Any love or true love cards received, whether as the catch or as a gentleman, are placed in that player's love receive line and not in their love to give stack. Make sure to flip these cards over to reveal their hearts and line them up so that the graphics line up to show a row of hearts. Once the scoring phase is complete, the catch passes the catch card to the next player in clockwise order, and the new round will begin, starting with the setup phase. In a 6-player game, both the first catch and the second catch will be passed 2 players in clockwise order, meaning there will be 2 new catches in the next round. Rounds will continue until all players have played as the catch at least once, and at that point, the game will proceed to game end, in which all players count up their scores to determine who is the winner. At game end, all players will count up their love and true love cards, receiving 1 point for each card. Whoever has the most is the winner. If there's a tie between those tied players, whoever has the most true love cards is determined the winner. In a 2-player game of Ladies' Choice, 2 players compete against one another in hopes of marrying the dandiest gentleman out of 4 possible choices. For setup, deal 4 piles of 6 gentleman attribute cards between both players, making sure that there is room for more cards on each player's side of the table. Each of these piles represents a gentleman for you to marry. In order to win the game, you must either marry the dandiest of the 4, or have your opponent marry one that is not the dandiest. To begin the game, the first player must use their turn as a court action, in which they will look at 1 card on the top of any of the 4 decks, taking a look at it and then placing it face down on their side close to the deck that they drew from. From that point forward, players may choose either to court or marry, and when they court, they will take 2 court actions, taking the top card of a deck, looking at it, placing it face down on their side, and then again choosing another card, either from the same deck or a different deck, placing it down on their side next to the deck they chose from. As the game progresses, the piles may become empty or have only face-up cards. In this case, take the card from the nearest space on your opponent's side, flip it face up, and place it where the original pile was. This represents what you both know about the gentleman. At any time, you can look at the cards on your side of the pile or any pile of face-up cards, but you must make sure to put them back in the correct order that they already were in. Instead of courting, you may choose the marry action, which follows the same rules as a 3 to 6 player game. When choosing the marry action, you'll rank each of the 4 gentlemen, giving the highest ranking to the least dandy ranking. And if the player who chose the marry action ends up marrying the dandiest gentleman, then he or she is the winner. If they chose any other gentleman, then they do not win, and it's the player who did not marry that becomes the winner. If there's a tie between rank of dandiness, Tie will be determined based on the same rules as in a 3 to 6 player game, and if there's still a tie, then it breaks in favor of the player who is marrying. And that's all you need to know to play Ladies' Choice. Make sure to check out that Kickstarter campaign by visiting the link down below in the description of this video. And if you have any questions or comments, please make sure to put that in the comment section down below, and I'll make sure to take a look at that when I get a chance. If you like this video, please make sure to like and subscribe, as well as hitting that bell icon so you can be notified of more great content from Love to Hate. I'm Lance, and this was Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.